Hey Fixin' Cruisers, and welcome back to the channel. Ever wonder what keeps your car's electrical heart beating, powering everything from your headlights to your radio, and even making sure you can start your engine every morning? Today, we're diving deep into the unsung hero under your hood, the alternator. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down its vital role and, more importantly, give you the concise analysis of the telltale signs that it might be on its last legs. Ignoring these symptoms can lead to a dead battery and even leave you stranded on the side of the road. So, let's jump right into the full explanation and see how this crucial component works and what happens when it doesn't. Take a watch.
The alternator's purpose is to convert mechanical energy from the engine into electrical energy. This energy can be used to power all the electrical systems in your vehicle like the lights, radio, air conditioning, and so on. The alternator also charges your car's battery while you're driving. Without the alternator, your car would only run on the power stored in the battery, which would eventually run out and leave you stranded. That's why the alternator is so important. It keeps the battery charged and ensures that your car's electrical system has a constant supply of power to keep everything running smoothly. A quick tip when locating the alternator in your vehicle is to try looking for the serpentine belt. You'll be able to locate the alternator since it's driven by it. Here's the location on a Ford Fusion. The first common symptom of a failing alternator is warning lights. Your vehicle can have a battery warning light, an alternator warning light, or a generator light. If you see any of these lights pop up while driving, it's important to have your car checked out. Don't ignore these warning lights because you risk draining your battery and potentially getting stranded on the side of the road. The second symptom is accessories failing to work properly. For instance, the radio can be turning on and off, or maybe it's not working at all, or maybe your power windows are much lower than usual. Typically, if more than one accessory starts to act up, then it's a good indicator that your alternator is malfunctioning. Another common symptom of a faulty alternator is headlight problems. You could be experiencing your headlights become dim, or they can also flicker as well. This can be more noticeable when you turn on other electrical components in your car. The reason why this happens is because the alternator consists of several components that work together, including the stator, rotor, and voltage regulator to produce a stable flow of electricity. If any of these components fail, the alternator won't be able to generate sufficient power to keep the headlights as bright as they should be. The fourth symptom of a bad alternator is hearing grinding or whining noises coming from your engine. This could be caused by worn out bearings inside the alternator or by a faulty pulley. The fifth symptom is a dead battery. You'll be trying to turn on your car, only to find out that it doesn't start because the battery's dead. If this happens often, it's important to not immediately assume that you need to replace the battery. A bad alternator is also a common cause for this issue. Since the alternator is responsible for charging the battery while the engine's running, if it's faulty, it won't be able to do its job, leaving you with a no start. The last and most unpleasant symptom is your engine stalling. You'll be driving down the road only to find out your car dies and turns off out of nowhere. This happens because the alternator provides power to the car's ignition system, which is responsible for generating a high voltage electrical spark at the spark plugs, which ignite the air fuel mixture in the combustion chambers. If the alternator is not providing enough power, there won't be spark to ignite the air fuel mixture, resulting in the stalling engine. It's important to note that a worn serpentine belt can cause similar symptoms to a bad alternator. I'll leave my video about the symptoms of a bad serpentine belt in the description below. Now if you want to learn how to test your alternator, then click here.
Alright, so that video gave us a fantastic overview of what the alternator is all about. Let's get interactive now. For those of you just joining us, or if you want a deeper dive, let's chat about what we just saw. First off, the alternator isn't just some random part, it's essentially a mini power plant for your car. It takes the mechanical energy from your engine through that serpentine belt we saw and turns it into electrical energy. This electrical energy does two super important jobs. It powers all your vehicle's electrical accessories. Think lights, radio, air conditioning, even your power windows. And it also keeps your car's battery charged while you're driving. Without it, your car would only run on the limited power stored in the battery, which, as the video highlighted, will eventually run out, leaving you stuck. Now, let's talk about those critical symptoms of a failing alternator, because knowing them can save you a huge headache. 1. Warning lights. Did you catch that image of the battery warning light? Or perhaps you've seen an ALT or GEN light on your dashboard? These aren't just pretty icons. They're your car screaming for help. If any of these lights pop up, don't ignore them. It means your alternator isn't charging your battery properly, and you're running on borrowed time. 2. Accessory failure. Remember the flickering radio or the slow power windows. If multiple electrical components start acting sluggish or completely fail, especially when you turn on others, that's a classic sign. The alternator can't keep up with the electrical demand, so power is diverted from non-essential systems, or everything just gets less power. 3. Headlight problems. This is a big one, especially if you drive at night. Dimming or flickering headlights, particularly when you hit the brakes or turn on another accessory, points directly to an alternator issue. Inside the alternator, components like the stator, rotor, and voltage regulator work to create a stable flow of electricity. If one of them fails, that stable flow goes out the window, and your headlights pay the price. 4. Whining or grinding noises. If you start hearing strange noises, like a whining or grinding sound coming from your engine, that could be a worn-out bearing inside the alternator or a faulty pulley. These mechanical failures are often precursors to a complete alternator breakdown. 5. Dead battery, chari, engine stalling. And finally, the ultimate frustration: a dead battery or your engine stalling. When your alternator fails to charge the battery, eventually the battery dies and your car won't start. Or even worse, the engine stalls while you're driving because the alternator isn't providing the necessary power to the ignition system to create the spark plug's sparks for combustion. This is why it's so important not to just replace the battery if it keeps dying. The underlying problem could very well be your alternator. Now, for my critical take on this, while the video does an excellent job of outlining the symptoms, what's crucial for every fix and cruiser to understand is the urgency and diagnosis aspects. Many people, when their car won't start, immediately assume it's just the battery. And while sometimes it is, often the battery is merely a victim of a failing alternator. Replacing a perfectly good battery because the alternator isn't charging, it is a waste of money and will only delay the inevitable breakdown. Another vital point the video touched on is the serpentine belt. This often overlooked component is the link between your engine and the alternator. A worn, cracked, or loose serpentine belt can cause very similar symptoms to a bad alternator, because if it's not driving the alternator properly, the alternator can't do its job, even if the alternator itself is perfectly fine. Always check the condition and tension of your serpentine belt if you suspect an alternator issue. It's a much cheaper and simpler fix than replacing the whole alternator. My biggest piece of advice here is proactive maintenance and timely diagnosis. Don't wait until you're stranded on the side of the road, having to call for a tow. If you notice any of these warning signs, especially warning lights, flickering headlights, or strange noises, get your car checked out by a trusted mechanic or test the alternator yourself. Testing an alternator is relatively straightforward with a multimeter, and there are plenty of resources, including future videos on this channel, that can show you how. Catching the problem early can prevent more extensive damage to your battery and save you from inconvenient and potentially unsafe breakdowns. Remember, knowing your car's vital signs empowers you to be a smarter car owner. So, there you have it. Fix and Cruisers. A complete rundown on your alternator, why it's so important, and the key symptoms to look out for if it's starting to fail. The alternator keeps your battery charged and ensures your car's electrical systems have a constant power supply to keep everything running smoothly. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to Fix and Cruise for more essential car knowledge, and share your alternator stories or questions in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay safe on the roads, and keep cruising.